Believe it or not, the SEC championship game is just a few weeks away. We have reached that point in the 2025 college football season. Dreams are being realized, hopes are being dashed, and helping us break it all down, talk all things SEC and college football. He's one of the best in the business, Georgia legend and host of C-Ball Get Ball. David Pollack joins the show once again. David, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Really excited to have you on, especially I was thinking back just before we went live, the conversations you and I had in the preseason just a few weeks before kickoff, and now we look at the landscape, and some we were right on, some we were way off on, some we were kind of right in the middle, and that's the beauty of it all, but excited to break it down with you, my man.
Yeah, it's changed so much. Specifically, man, you think about like the quarterbacks that we were like talking about consistently with Arch and Lagway and Nussmeier, and you're like, and Lenora Sellers, and you're like, see what happened was, I mean, like, who would have thought Nussmeier would have been benched at this point in the season and really, really struggled, and Lagway last week as well, both of them. So it's been strange. It's been crazy. And then A&M's just sitting there at the top being like, everybody hold my beer.
David, ironically enough, that's actually where I wanted to start with you as the quarterbacks, because when you and I spoke before the season, it was Lagway, Sellers, Nussmeier, Manning. Now the conversation all centers around Stockton, Simpson, Chambliss, Pavia, some of these other guys. Of the ones I mentioned first, the Manning, Lagway, Sellers, Nuss, which of those has been the most surprising to you? Because you look at all four of those guys, I think there was a path for maybe a disappointing season with some of the other deficiencies on their teams, but with all of them, there are surprises. But is there one that stands out to you specifically you look at and it just shocks you that he's had the kind of season he's had?
Well, Nussmeier would be the first pick, because I saw Nussmeier do next level things. I haven't seen Arch do next level things. I didn't see Lagway do next level things. I didn't see Seller do next level things. I saw him be a next level athlete and be chiseled out of granite and break 75 tackles against Clemson and do some amazing things down the stretch. But like, the throw game was not elite. It was not like I saw him do X, Y, and Z. I saw Nussmeier make 3 or 4 throws a game that made you go, habita, what? Like, what the heck was that? Like, you watch the tape and you and I have the app where you have the all 22, and I'm like, star. Like, that's how many plays that you saw that of. So to watch him regress, and the injuries have something to do with it. The system obviously did not grow, did not get better. So that was probably the most surprising amongst all of those that others have been surprising.
And on the flip side, David, are the guys that maybe didn't have as high of expectations, the one that's impressed you the most? I mean, I know a guy like Trinidad Chambliss. I don't think anybody even knew who he was before the season started. It was supposedly we thought it was going to be Austin Simmons. He deals with the injury. Trinidad Chambliss takes the job and never looks back. Again, Diego Pavia is having a monster year.
Gunnar Stockton's
getting better.
Ty Simpson has been absolutely Freaky Friday good.
Yeah. A bunch of guys that I think were ranked probably in the bottom half of the league by who knows who, but I think right now you look at those are the best signal callers we've got in the conference.
Yeah, and when you look at it, if you start with Ty, like, I knew he was a good athlete because I've watched him come in and run in the past. I knew he had a good arm. I've watched him throw. But to survey the field and to show the patience, to show greatness under duress, to show greatness in the moment. And here's the thing. Alabama's run game is ungood. It is not good, okay? It is on his shoulders. Like, his receivers are good. Like, he's got a trio that's really, really good, and Brooks is probably the fourth that's really good. Like, they've got a bunch of guys that are really good. They're protecting him well. But, like, he's just been unbelievable. Marcel Reed, I had A&M in the playoff before the season because I liked what I saw from him enough as an athlete. And then I knew Craver and Concepcion, like, everybody who touches the football can go to the house. Mm-hmm. Like, it sucks to play that. Like, that is not fun. I'm a defensive guy. I'm always like, how do I stop them? Well, you're snapping it to 4-4, throwing it to 4-3, throwing it to 4-3. Like, another guy that's 10-2 in the slot. I mean, handing it off to bruisers behind a monstrous offensive line that is super deep, super big, super physical. So I kind of liked A&M coming in, but Trinidad Chambliss, bro, come on. Ferris State, like, Trinidad posted. I was talking with Billy and with Lane about this. Billy's their GM at Ole Miss, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, how did we find Trinidad? Like, don't tell me you knew he was there." He posted it on X that he was leaving, that he was going to the transfer portal. I'm like, Yeah. So we looked at the tape and we were like, pretty good. Like, dual threat, makes plays, played in big-time games, won a Division II national championship at Ferris State a year ago, been in big moments. If we need him, like, this dude could be pretty good. Now, Austin Simmons was supposed to be next level and be that guy, but he's been, he was pretty average to start the season and made too many mistakes, got hurt. And Shambles has been unfreaking believable. Toting the rock, getting the ball out quick, making plays. Like, he is there because of him. I mean, that's the biggest surprise of all this, that it's not Austin Simmons we're talking about, that we're talking about a little dude from Ferris State that's taken over the league. And that's not even mentioning Gunnar Stockton, who to start the season looked as average as grits. Like, first couple games, I'm like, nope, that won't get it done. Like, that will not get it done. Not in this league, not throwing the ball over the middle of the field. Release is way too long. Eyes come down, don't come back up. I can't get with it. Like, there's no way. Man, has Gunnar Stockton continued to kind of step up. Now, listen, they're using the best assets of his feet, but he's learned I don't have to uncork every throw from a lower half and more importantly, from an upper half, wind up and throw, because he's got a long one. He's doing a lot more of the just like stationary, just barely open up, throw it, barely open up, throw it. I'm like, dude, you got plenty of arm. Like, that dude can throw it through a car wash and not get it wet. So to watch that and the development of the Georgia offense with Gunnar has been a big surprise too. So we had it all figured out, bro. We were wrong on just about everything.
I want to go back, David. You mentioned Texas A&M. I do want to commend you on that one, because I think that was one that before the season we looked at the personnel and a lot of us felt really good about it, but we weren't quite ready. We maybe dipped the toe in, but weren't quite ready. Weren't sure if the water was quite right. But you went out there, felt like this team was going to be in the college football playoff, and barring a miracle, they are going to be. Obviously sitting 9-0 right now. They've still got Samford on the schedule, South Carolina, Texas, of course. But what's impressed you most about this team? Because it took a while for a lot of us to come around. But, I mean, David, I look at them right now. They just feel like the most complete team in the league, the fewest deficiencies, I mean, the highest floor, however you want to phrase it. They just continue to impress every single week.
Yeah, I think that you learn more and more as the team goes on. You learn about you also learn about, like, once the weather starts to get a little bit colder, the game changes a little bit too. But I just think Reed's ability, like, I think what they did early in the season too was very brilliant, because they came out throwing, man. Like, I think they understood, like, we can run this football if we need to. The offensive line is experienced. It's the only team in the league that all offensive linemen have started every single game. But they're kind of unique because they play three different centers and they rotate guys in at tackle. Like, they play their guys. They have depth up there. I was concerned with the defense more than anything. I still don't think the run defense is elite by any stretch. But Cassius Howell is an unbelievable animal, like, just Freaky Friday athlete coming off the edge that can get to the quarterback. Lee's one of the better corners. And when they get you to third down, like, you just better close your eyes and pray. I had CJ Carr on the show the other day, and I was like, what did you think about A&M on third down? I was like, because their numbers are insane. He was like, bro. He was like, 3 down, 4 down. This guy's coming. This guy's not coming. He was like, dude, it's trying to figure out the game of who's coming and who's not. And he was like, they're just so creative and so good at it. So that's been impressive to watch. But I think you can put them in the playoff. I'm ready to put. I could tell you right now, I'm ready to have 4 teams in the playoff. Like, give me Ole Miss, because I think Florida's quit. Like, I think they've punted. They've got to go to Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss. Even if they lose to Mississippi State, they're still in the playoff. A&M's in regardless. They're going to win. They're going to win. They beat Missouri. They're going to win. If they lose to Texas, they're still in. Doesn't matter. And then you got Indiana, Ohio State are still in. No matter. So those are the 4 right now that you feel pretty confident about. 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten. And the SEC is getting at least 4 in. And I think it's more, because Texas is going to be right. If Texas beats Georgia or A&M, they're in the playoff. First ever 3-team team that's going to be in the playoff. Why do you say that? Texas didn't have to go across the country and play Ohio State. Nobody played them better than Texas. 14-7, when Manning wasn't even close to the best version of Manning we've seen. We've seen him get better as the season's gone along. So, I think Texas still has a real shot. Oklahoma beats Alabama this weekend. They're in the playoff. Like, there's a lot of teams still. Vandy is not out of this thing, bro. Like, not by any stretch. If they beat Tennessee last game of the season, and there's some carnage in front of them. So it's crazy, man, to see the depth of the league and the amount of teams in this league that is just really, really good.
David, I want to go back to Georgia really quickly because you mentioned, and I've been fortunate enough to see them in person since early in the season in Knoxville, then in Athens against Alabama, and then just a couple of weeks ago in Jacksonville against Florida. And you're right, it's been cool to watch the progression of Gunnar Stockton, that entire football team. But I want to ask you specifically because you know about the culture of Georgia football and the DNA of that program better than most. What I think so impressive about them, I feel like nobody likes to get it out the mud more than Georgia does. What I mean by that is they will fall behind early in games. They're kind of like that fighter that I feel like they need to feel a little blood in the mouth first.
I've called them Rocky Balboa from the start of the season. Like they just got to taste a little bit of blood, man.
They're like, yeah, that now I'm in the fight. I mean, like, can you speak to, like I said, I agree with you. I think Georgia's gotten better week after week after week. You know, maybe early on they weren't the favorite to win it all or what have you, but this Georgia team keeps improving, man. I think they got as good a shot as anybody to go all the way.
They do, and they just keep doing it consistently, which is amazing to watch them. Like, I mean, I think the stat was, and don't hold me to this exactly, but I think they're 23-1 or 23-3 since 2020 in games where they haven't scored first. Like, it just gets to the point where it's kind of silly. And let me tell you something. That's the kind of thing as an athlete that rubs off on you. Like, you start to feel like I'm bulletproof. Like, I'm going to make a play. Tennessee game, when you see Florida, going to make a play. When you see Ole Miss, like, going to make a play. They very easily could have a few more losses. Their upper-end talent ain't nowhere near what it's been. It's nowhere near what it's been. But their resolve is as good as anybody in the country. And I don't think you want to get in that game with them late in the fourth quarter where you're like, what the crap, man? Like, something's going to happen, you know, and it usually isn't in our favor. So, you know, mental toughness, you know, they're physical. I think as much as anybody, they know who they are. Now, they've taken some lumps this season defensively, but I think defensively, you know, I looked on the field the other day and there was 2 seniors and 2 juniors. And you're like, that's 7 freshmen and sophomores. I mean, they're playing freshmen week after week. Elias Williams, this cat at tight end, like, I'll put it on a stamp right now for you, homie. Like, you can send this anywhere you want to send it. He's a problem for the next couple years at Georgia. He's gonna win the Mackey Award for the best tight end in the country. I think it's the Mackey Award. Like, he is a dude, man. 6'7", is willing to block. But they threw him a jump ball last week. Not even a jump ball. It was a la back shoulder. I wish I had the capacity to do that, like, tape measure thing, because he's 6'7", and he's up here. I bet you it's 11 feet. At least 11 feet catching a football. Like, he'll be the guy that split out on a corner later on down the road in his career that you're just throwing jump balls to and just throw it up, go get the rebound. But I could go down the list of other guys too, with Elijah Griffin on the defensive line, who's an all-world guy. And then they've just found their identity throughout the season, continued to get better, and I think everybody in the country would say it, like, they don't want to see them. That you just don't. You don't want to fight Rocky. Like, you want to fight somebody that they might have some power, but they die. Mike Tyson, right? They fizzle out. Like, they can hit me, but they're going to get tired and fatigued. They're Rocky. They're like, okay, that's good. I'm going to keep coming forward.
David, I don't mean to make you repeat yourself, but you said you believe that this is going to be, we are going to get a 3-loss SEC team in the playoff. You feel pretty confident in that?
Yeah, I think this is the first year that absolutely could happen, but I think you're going to get the floor's 4 for the SEC, but the ceiling absolutely is 5 or 6, which is going to drive everybody nuts. Now, listen, the ACC is getting 1. They're getting 1. I mean, the Big 12, depending on BYU and what they do, they're getting 1. Now, BYU got slapped around like last week. They got put at the little kids table by Texas Tech. So they deserve, it was 26-0 in the fourth quarter. Like, they deserve that. They lose and get beat down again, they're out. Like, it's not going to happen. So I think that you're looking at 2 leagues that could get 1. Well, the Big Ten, you look at the teams in the Big Ten, you've got Indiana and Ohio State who are in. Oregon, they very easily could lose another game, and they don't have a lot on their resume to brag about. Like, Iowa now on their resume, Northwestern is the only other team they beat with a winning record. So down the stretch, they got to play Washington. They got to play USC, right? I think it's USC. Like, they've got to play a couple more. No, they got to play USC, and they got to play Washington. I think Oregon will lose again. So now Oregon's a 2-loss team. So like you got to pick teams from somewhere. The group of 5 is going to get their one, obviously, which is a absolute shoot show. It's like a roulette game. You just spin the wheel every week and try to figure out, which one it's going to be. So I think the SEC, like, do the math. Like, there's 12 spots, one for a G5, one for ACC, one for Big 12. That's 3. There's 8 spots left. You're getting at least 4 in, man. I think they're going to get 5 in. You just start looking around for teams and who deserves to be there. And Texas can't be. They can't be going across the country to Ohio State and barely lose the football game and get punished for that. Like, I hope that's not the system that we're dealing with in college football.
David, I want to ask you about the coaching vacancies that we have right now. Jeez. I think we all knew after last year that there was probably going to be some bloodshed this season just because of the schools getting to a place of ready to move on, and they've got their whole revenue sharing thing figured out. That was kind of the thing last year, right? Checks and balances, and hey, let's not pay a buyout we don't have to pay. Well, that's obviously not stopping anybody when you're essentially on the verge of paying Brian Kelly $53 million to get out of LSU midseason. Auburn fires Hugh Freeze. Arkansas.
God, I just want to get fired, bro. Can you just fire me? Goodness gracious!
I think Billy Napier is getting like $16 million from Florida, so I just want to get your thoughts. I think obviously LSU and Florida are the 2 most intriguing. Lane Kiffin's name is in the publications every single day. There's Eli Drinkwitz, another one. But your thoughts on the current job openings in the conference, like how do you kind of stack those up and thoughts on who may land where?
Well, here's the thing. The traditional, and we've been saying this on the show for a while, the traditional way of stacking it up is not the way you can stack it up now. Now, I got very outraged by people that wanted to say that, like, Auburn's not a good job. Like, hold my beer, bro. Like, I'm not here with that. Like, I don't understand. Here's the list of teams that have played for 2 national championships in the last 15 seasons. It's Bama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, and Auburn. That's the list. And Notre Dame and Oregon haven't won one. Auburn has. Like, that's not a lengthy list, man. Like, that's an impressive list. Have they been boo-boo the last several years? Yes, they've been terrible the last 5 years. Like, they haven't figured it out and it hasn't worked. But you can't tell me it's not a good job. Louisiana, if you put a fence around the state of Louisiana, you win. You win national championships. LSU won national championships despite their head coach with Les Miles, despite their head coach with Ed Orgeron. They literally won them without him. Because that's the system we played in. That ain't the system we play in anymore. This is a system now where it's a business. And if you ain't running it like a business with experience, with a GM, understanding what this pay for play is and how we're paying people and what that system looks like of who we're going to pay, how much are we going to spend? Like, we need to know the details of this. So it's not enough to just say it's one of the better jobs in the country anymore. That's what used to drive the best coaches. So hiring coordinators now, you're hiring coordinators that, like, okay, I'm really guessing because the guys that have done it in this system, the system hasn't been in existence for that long. So, like, you've gained some experience. So you're a little bit ahead of the curve because you've been doing that. So I say all that because it's not just good enough to say LSU's a top 5 job in the country. It is. But that was the old system. Now you better come in with a plan. And I think that you've seen so much success at LSU. You've seen success at Auburn. You've seen success at Florida. If you want to back that up to 20 years, Florida can be in that conversation about teams that have had, a lot of success. I want to go out and get guys that understand the systems, that have done it, that understand GMs, that have GMs, that have experience in doing this thing, doing the NIL. And Eli Drinkwitz makes a lot of sense, man. Like, I think he would go to any of these jobs. I really believe that. I think he would go to any of these jobs. He's already learned how to replace coordinators, have come in and out. He's had a ton of success. I think he's 27-7 in the league or something like that, or 27-4, maybe 5 of the last several years in the league. He's won in the league with less talented players at a spot that's not as desirable, right? So I think he'll get a raise to come. Lane Kiffin is interesting. I talk to Lane Kiffin more than any coach in college football just because I love and appreciate so much of his growth as a human. And so it's usually not about football. It's just like, dude, proud of you. Like, proud of your sobriety, proud of your walk with God. Like, we have a lot in common in that area. And I just think Lane's really happy. And I think it's hard. I hope he doesn't leave happy. I hope you stay where you're at. Like, I think if you asked Hugh Freeze if he could stay at Liberty, he would have stayed at Liberty. Like, to be happy and to be in a situation where you fit culturally and it's bigger, it's part of your mission and who you want to be and where you're at. So I think Lane stays. Now I think he'll get a nice raise, which is great. Like, take that money, brother. But then I think you start looking at the other guys like Summerall, who played in the SEC at Kentucky, who's done really, really well at Tulane. I think he's a guy that's going to be tabbed for some of these jobs. But it is interesting, man. These buyouts are nuts. They're crazy. I thought it was interesting to watch what Wisconsin did versus some other teams. So Wisconsin, instead of firing their coach and paying him a bunch of money, they're like, all right, listen, we're going to keep Luke Fickell, and we're going to spend a bunch of money on players. And then we're going to evaluate him from that standpoint. So I think there's also that side of it too, man. Like, when Joey McGuire just became a really great coach at Texas Tech because he got some dudes. Like, I coach high school football now, homie. I have a outside linebacker pass rusher that's going to Georgia. He got hurt. I'm way less of a good coach now. Okay, like, I'm not near as good without that dude. Like, it's just kind of part of it. So it's going to be interesting to watch how everybody handles big business college football and where they choose to invest their money. Because right now, facilities mean jack squat. Like, they used to be king. Now they're not. In-state recruiting used to be a big deal. You know, proximity to recruits. Bro, I got cheddar. If I got cheddar, I'll make it rain and I'll get my people.
And there could be, by the way, on that note, David, more openings on the way. So I think the chaos has only begun when it comes to that standpoint. A couple others out there, depending on how the season finishes up. We'll see. Although I do think a guy like Mark Stoops has saved his job. I don't think Shane Beamer is going anywhere, but you never know. You never know. It's the floodgates have kind of opened on it seems.
You don't think he'd go to Virginia Tech, though?
Well, I think
he'd go to Virginia Tech.
Leaving versus getting fired is a different animal. I mean, that's the same thing, too. What if Mizzou opens up because Eli leaves? What if Ole Miss were to open up because Lane leaves? What if, like that I think is where you throw a wrinkle in. So it's –
I think that'd be smart of Shane Beamer because, again, when you take another job, the new clock ticks now. Yeah. Now you get another 5-year deal, which is fantastic. But when it comes to all the hirings, there's always cause and effect, right? You plug one, then the next one's going to have to be coming open. And Penn State originally started this whole thing, and they're like, yeah, baby, we're going to be first in line. Now they're like, what happened? Like, dang, that 10 just walked to the front of the line. How did she get in the rope? And I'm sitting here back here. They're not letting me in the VIP section, dog.
One of my favorite quotes this entire cycle is Lane Kiffin can't coach. He can only coach one team. So there's a lot of teams out there that want him. He can only coach one at a time. Dave, before we get out of here, I want to get your thoughts on the SEC teams in contention to go to the college football playoff and whether you think they're contenders or pretenders to win the national championship. I don't know if if it's wide open where you think if 5 get in, all 5 could potentially win it all. If there's just a certain number, do you feel like there's a cutoff? I mean, obviously the favorites, A&M, Bama, Georgia are your top 3, Ole Miss. Then you get into the Texas, Oklahoma territory where they're going to kind of be on the fence. Vandy, like you said, has only got 2 losses. Where's the cutoff for you from not the college football playoff and just making the 12-team field, but I'm talking winning the whole thing if it is an SEC team. One team.
One team from the SEC. A&M's the only team that could win it to me. Again, Alabama's lack of run game is bothering to me. Now, the weather and the draw could be good. You're hosting a playoff game as opposed to going up north when you can't throw the football and you better be able to pound it. And their defense has gotten better, so I like that component of it. But A&M, with the speed, with both sides of the football, the pass rush, the ability to cover in the back end, I think they're the team that's been consistently shown me enough to believe that they can go on a run. Because here's the thing. You got to beat 3 or 4 good teams in a row. That means you better be discernibly better. Now, Alabama's already showed us that. Like, they went on a run in the middle of the season where they won 4 games. That was incredible. Like, it was the most incredible stretch in college football that we've seen this season. Nobody's done that. Nobody's ran that gauntlet. So maybe Alabama deserves to be in that. Like, A&M and Alabama maybe are the 2 teams then that you say they could put it together because they're discernibly, the explosiveness on offense, the QB play from both of them that is so dynamic. They could carry the day, I guess, with the weapons they have out wide. So A&M for sure, Alabama second on the list. So 1 and 2.
It's going to be a fun race to the finish, no doubt. I do want to ask you, David, thoughts on the Heisman Trophy race. I admittedly put a bet in on Ty Simpson before the season started, but
Ooh.
Diego, yeah, which is I'm feeling pretty good about. I was called a crazy person after week 1, but Ty Simpson obviously has been he's been playing out of his mind since then. Diego Pavia is hitting the Heisman pose every week. Obviously, we know the Big Ten is going to factor in this with Tayen and Mendoza. So you got a favorite in the Heisman Trophy race?
Man, this is really tough this year. Now, Mendoza's the first to do something very special, though. He has the first moment, and I think that's big. Like, what he just did against Penn State late in the football game, that's a moment for me. I don't care what you think of Penn State. I don't give a crap. The fact that he just did that, at first down you get sacked and it's, 2nd and 17 on a 2-minute drill with no timeouts. You go down the field and pick apart people. Now, listen, they're banged up. So it's not the prettiest thing in the world. I would also argue if you put a lot of guys behind that line, they wouldn't be successful either. And it would be very tough to. You put Julian Sayin behind that line. Ty Simpson's been incredible. He's QB1 for me for the NFL. Like, the way he throws into zones, his patience, his scrambling ability, his toughness, like, that dude's a dude, man. He is a dude. So I think Ty Simpson deserves to be very, very high on the list. So does Julian Sayin, so does Mendoza, and so does Jeremiah Love. Now, sorting it out, I need the moments because the moments are the premise down the stretch. Like, your team's got to be in the mix. Marcel Reed's going to be in the mix, right? Like, in the mix, in the big-time moments later in the season, who's going to carry their team? Mendoza's got one. And I would argue 2 at Iowa, too, because he got hit in the face tons of times in that game, too. But who's going to go down the stretch here, make those big plays? It's wide the freak open. Wide open. Like, it is as wide open as I've ever seen it. Let's see who becomes that guy in the big moments down the stretch.
David, always a pleasure, my friend. Really excited to see how it shakes out. I think, again, the fun is only just beginning. One of the best in the business. Always love talking ball with you. Let folks know where they can check out all your great work, see ball, get ball, everything else you're doing.
See ball, get ball on all the podcast space where you get them, and then we're on YouTube ad nauseum. We will probably be too much for you. 4 days a week, recapping games, previewing games, a lot of coaches interviews, player interviews. So if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like our show. See ball, get ball. The name too is because I'm not very bright. You see the ball, you go get it. It's a defensive name.
There you have it. David Pollack, appreciate you, David. We'll do it again soon.
My man, be good.